All right, we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to just an impromptu episode of the Newt News Podcast. We're here to talk about Yamamoto, and then if anybody has any questions or anything, we're just here for a little Q&A. The holiday season's coming up. We're going to be pretty busy, so this will be one more time where we can kind of chat and everything. Also, we expect this to be a pretty busy week for the Cardinals. There's a lot that they could do, especially right after the holidays once things cool down on the 26th or 27th. But we'll have a lot going on at that point. So we want to make sure we can get those questions out there now. Then again, if anything huge happens, you'll probably see us back here because we'll have you covered like we always do.
Oh, yeah. All right. So the Dodgers signed Yamamoto like 2 days after we had Jim Hayes on the charity stream. So that was fun. And he broke that news. We got to share it with you guys and be excited for a little bit. But that was tough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I consider myself rooting for the Dodgers? Probably not. But like, I'm not. I don't hate them like most people do because just for my own Ohtani bias. But when I first saw the tweet, I was like, oh no, this is going to be real bad. What was the deal? 12 years, $325 million. I think there's a signing bonus in there somewhere and a huge posting fee.
The posting fee is almost $60 million, I read.
Yeah, it's am I mad that the Cardinals didn't do it? No, not really. It's okay.
Well, because you think about like what the financial commitment is this year alone. I mean, he's making $27 million AAV, right? Plus this year you've got like a $60 million posting fee plus whatever that signing bonus was, which like I don't know where that is. But this guy is raking in, well, not him because his team's getting the posting fee, but like the commitment to get this guy for the 2024 season, like somewhere in the $90 to $100 million range. And like that's just something the Cardinals can't do. Like they can't go out and spend $100 million for a guy for 1 year. And like, yeah, you get all those other years. But I do understand why they weren't willing to go to that level. Also, we're missing Josh tonight. He's on vacation. He's off having fun, which is good. He's taking a little break, which is great. But he'll be back soon. Everything.
Hope you're fun on your cruise.
Yeah. If Josh is in the chat, he's just a legend. We love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Yamamoto deal is now the largest contract ever handed out to a starting pitcher. And Yamamoto's never thrown a pitch in Major League Baseball. Now, I'm higher on the Japanese talent than a lot of people are, so I'm not too worried about it. I feel like it translates pretty well to Major League Baseball, especially recently. You see those guys come over, and even Masataka Yoshida, who everyone thought was going to bust, you did pretty good with the Red Sox last year. So not too worried about how Yamamoto will do. What I think is particularly interesting is that the Dodgers signed Yamamoto after signing Shohei Ohtani for so much money. I figured he wouldn't go to the Dodgers just for the financial reason of, a lot of people pay for like the Japanese endorsements when you bring in a guy like that. And like the Yankees were looking to bring back a lot of the endorsements they had back from the Tanaka days, Matsui days. But the Dodgers, they kind of already got a guy. I don't know if you heard about him, but like they got this guy who's kind of a big deal in Japan. So like they already got their endorsement money from Japan. They're not going to get any more really with Yamamoto coming over there. I guess they're preventing the other teams from getting it, but that doesn't really matter. But I guess now the Dodgers are just Japan's team, which is cool for them. Their team is good. They're going to lose in the NLDS to like an 84-win team every year.
But I would love nothing more. I want that known. I will be preying on their downfall. Absolutely, I will.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard the Yankees didn't want to go over 325 because they didn't want to like disrespect Garrett Cole or something, which I understand. Garrett Cole is a proven major league talent. We also get fewer years than Yamamoto. So Yamamoto's AAV is less than Garrett Cole's, who it may be a free agent next year, by the way. Cardinals.
Wait, does Cole have that opt-out?
He has an opt-out next year.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. How old is Garrett Cole right now, though? He hasn't even been on my radar.
Yeah, he's someone I've like sneakily looked at as, hey, maybe. He's 33 though. So
yeah, I couldn't because he's got 7 years left after this, right? Or 6 years.
Yeah. I think he's just gonna want more money.
I couldn't see him opting out of that. Maybe to get a higher AAV.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, no, I would. If I was the Cardinals, I wouldn't be going out there and signing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Garrett Cole opts out, it's to get more money from the Yankees. I don't think he's leaving.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Um,
But how do we think the Yamamoto signing affects the Cardinals? Because I know this is a Cardinals podcast and we want to talk a little bit about that. And I think, I mean, the obvious thing here is like, hey, the Cardinals didn't get Yamamoto, which is really tough. But I think obviously we knew that wasn't going to happen, at least for a while. Like I've been pushing for it on Twitter, of course,
yeah.
but what am I? I've been saying it makes sense, but I don't think it makes sense at the level they just got him at. So I think what it's done kind of sneakily is it's really priced the Cardinals out of the rest of the starting pitching market, at least in free agency. I think now you have like Jordan Montgomery is probably going to get $200 million. I think Blake Snell just got $200 million. I think that's insane.
Yeah, I was never too high on the rest of the starting pitching market. Like going into this offseason, it was kind of Yamamoto or bust for me for long-term deals. Obviously, Sonny Gray is your guy, and I'm happy with the deal the Cardinals gave him. But I always was under the impression that they needed to go out there and sign one of the premier starting pitchers to a long-term contract. My power rankings were Yamamoto was my first guy, and Aaron Nola was like a kind of distant second. He wasn't someone I was too high on, but he went back to the Phillies super early. Yamamoto obviously goes to the Dodgers on a mega deal that I don't think the Cardinals would ever consider offering any starting pitcher, especially one who hasn't pitched.
They just can't.
But like,
you can't offer that kind of money for a starting pitcher right now. And I know that Yamamoto's unique in the sense of like his stuff is off the charts and he's only 25. But Josh put out a tweet the other day that like really got me thinking here. He said, what if Yamamoto gets hurt in the middle of the 2025 season? Okay. So he's 27 at that point and he needs Tommy John surgery. He misses the rest of 25, misses all of 2026, right? And then comes back in 2027 and isn't the same because pitchers are rarely the same right after Tommy John. Now you've lost 2.5 or maybe 3 years of his prime. By the time he's like fully himself again, you're talking about a guy who's 29, almost 30. You spent $325 million on, 12 years of this guy. But what you're really spending on is his prime. You don't care about him at 36. You care about him at 28, and it's like you just wrecked yourself. So I don't know. I think it's Dominic, thank you for adding those details on Garrett Cole. That's really, really interesting. I wonder what they'll do with that. But to finish the Yamamoto point here, it's just like, I don't know if the Cardinals can stand up under that kind of deal. I mean, you're looking at the Brewers right now. Christian Yelich hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been Christian Yelich MVP, like 2019 Christian Yelich. And so it's like the Brewers are having trouble standing up under that deal right now. That's really restricting them. I think it's a big reason that you're seeing them kind of sell off some pieces now. So
yeah, I mean, the starting pitching options this offseason have been thin, and I think like I was never too high on the talent that was coming back this offseason. That's why I was so high on Ohtani, even after he tore his UCL. I was like, just patch the pitching together this year with some 1-year deals, and then next year go after like not Brandon Woodruff, but like Corbin Burns or like one of those premier like free. There's so many guys. Walker Buehler is going to be a free agent. Garrett Cole has that opt out, as we mentioned. Scherzer, I think, is coming back onto the market. I don't really know how he's going to look after this latest injury. He's probably not going to be himself again. But like, there's just not that many options to sign this offseason. Sonny Gray, obviously, we got him, but I know you're going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I don't think Sonny Gray is the game one starter for a World Series caliber team.
I think 2022 or 2023 Sonny Gray is.
Oh yeah,
like he was one of the best pitchers in baseball, and that's the data point we're working with here.
We also had Pablo Lopez behind him in that rotation, so that was like a good team in the Twins. Good rotation. That was not their problem.
Yeah,
but like we don't have Pablo Lopez. We don't even have Joe Ryan as our game 3 starter. Like Joe Ryan would probably be our game 2 starter at that point. So like there's not nearly as good of comparison between the Twins rotation.
I agree.
Rotation this year. So we need another guy that's better than Michaelis. Hopefully, Snell and Montgomery are not guys that I think really get that done. Blake Snell,
I think Montgomery gets it done.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sign Montgomery. The contract's going to be crazy. I'm telling you right now, Montgomery's going to go get 200 from Boston. Like, would I be shocked if I saw Montgomery sign a deal north of 180 or 190? No, not anymore. Not after what
I think
Yamamoto
one
did.
of Montgomery or Snell is going to Anaheim, and I think they're going to regret it because that's
I
what
think
they
it's
do.
going to be Snell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. But should we pivot to bullpen? I think we had
Yeah. We saw a question in earlier about bullpen help. So the Cardinals, obviously, they need to do two things. They probably need to add another starter. And like, last thing on the starting thing, I'd be okay. I got into a conversation on Twitter earlier tonight. I'd be okay with the Cardinals adding like a mid starter right now. I know people are saying they need a 1 or a 2. Yeah, they do, but they also could use a 3. Like, I'd be fine with the Cardinals adding a Shane Bieber. Do I think he like puts him over the top as a World Series caliber team? No. But do I think he's probably better than Lance Lynn? Yes. Yes, I do. So I'd be fine with them making a trade for a Bieber or like signing Montas on a prove it deal. Like, I'd be fine with them just adding depth. But the other thing they need to do is fix the bullpen. And that's what we'll get into now. The relief market just hasn't like developed at all this offseason. We've seen almost nothing. Matsui just signed, and maybe that unblocks some stuff. But honestly, I don't think he's the big thing that was holding everything up.
Yeah, the Matsui deal is a bargain, I think, for the Padres. The AAV is like, what, $6 million a year for a guy who was probably one of the premier relievers in Japan. I am not sure why the Cardinals didn't go near that. I'm also not sure why the Cardinals didn't go after Shelby Miller, who has had like really good stuff, couldn't really put it together, and then went to the Dodgers and was one of the best relievers in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I know, Josh, if you're listening to this, we had the Rosenthal, Kelly, Shelby Miller dream of the back of the bullpen with just old Cardinal guys. But like Shelby Miller was one of the better relievers out there, and I think he would have been a really good fit. I think he went to the Tigers for what, AAV of like $3 to $4 million next year. It's just not a lot of money. So the reliever market looks to be a lot slower than the starting market, which makes sense because the starting market has been so slow to heat up. And Yamamoto just got such a crazy contract. Like, it's just supply and demand, right? Like, there's not a lot of starting pitchers that you can go get.
Yeah, that's very true.
And a lot of teams need another starting pitcher, like the Cardinals. But the relief market, I feel like a lot of people probably think that they have like a Phil Maton in the back of their bullpen with some young guy, but not the Cardinals. We need another couple of those guys just to solidify it. Woo-Suk Go is a guy who's pretty intriguing. He's the grandson-in-law.
No. Yeah, that's true. He's the grandson-in-law of the Wind. So
I think he's a Jung-Hoo Lee's brother-in-law, who's the grandson.
I'm pretty sure. Right.
Yeah,
I love that. The Wind
I think
family.
that's pretty funny. But yeah. I don't know. The Korean talent, I'm always skeptical of it because it's just like a tier below the Japanese talent on average. And the pitchers, I feel like, do a little bit better. So I feel like he could be like a good 7th inning guy. But I don't know. I prefer the unproven talent from Japan, just based on the track records of things. Shota Imanaga is not a guy that I want to go after, for the record.
I'm good with that.
He was like slightly below average.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to mention the other guy's name.
Well, Imanaga's going to get somewhere around like 80 million. People are saying
that's not.
And I just want to say to everyone that's hyping up Imanaga, to everyone that's hyping up Yariel Rodriguez too.
Yariel Rodriguez is like a fine reliever.
I think he's
fine.
want
to give him a starting job.
I think he's fine, but like the people that are now trying to hand out big deals, and like I think Ohtani is an exception. Roki Sasaki is probably an exception. Yamamoto is an exception. But like, you used to be able to kind of mine these foreign leagues for a lot of talent, like Miles Michaelis. Like that's something where the Cardinals went over, got a guy on a bargain deal, and it's been really, really helpful. And you used to be able to do that, but it feels like there's so much spotlight on these leagues now where, like, personally, I'd be okay kind of pulling back and not investing right now because I feel like a lot of these guys are getting overpriced. Why is Imanaga necessarily better than most depth pitching options? If you said he's mid at the NPB level, like, why am I paying a lot for that guy? I don't know. I'm just a little nervous. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be okay, like, really pulling back from foreign investment right now. But back to bullpen talk.
Yeah. there's a couple of guys that I'm interested in. Josh Hader's guy I'm very much stay away from because he's going to cost you like $20 million next year, and he's basically just left-handed Ryan Helsley, right? He has a lot of restrictions on when he can pitch. He can only give you 3 outs. Never going to go more than that, except like maybe in the playoffs. But like he was overused by the Brewers. He got hurt, and that's just something that he wants to avoid, and that's fine. That's understandable. But he's not someone that fits the Cardinals' needs at all. We have guys that will give you what Josh Hader does, slightly worse maybe, but like if you look at Josh Hader's 2022 season, it was dreadful. It was so bad, especially with the Brewers and the Padres. Like he got worse. Like it's just
relievers is dreadful the right word? Like I feel like 2022 Josh Hader was still good.
I mean, I think his ERA hovered in the 6s at some points with the Padres.
Oh yeah, his total was 522. Somehow he was still an all-star. What are we doing?
I think he was an all-star because he like got off to a really, really good start and then blew like 6 saves in a row. Like it was just bad. But like,
I mean, still though, even that version of Josh Hader had 14.6 Ks per 9. And he still didn't issue a ton of free passes. Like his FIP was still pretty low. It wasn't quite as low as normal because he had a home run problem, which honestly Josh Hader's kind of always had.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You it kind of just comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he gets to play with his father and Tommy Edman. Like that would be a cool story, you know?
Yeah.
Like
you had me for a second. I was like, what?
Anyway, so I don't know. Phil Maton is a guy that I think goes under the radar. Jordan Hicks is someone I don't like. I know Jordan Hicks wasn't really part of the problem, but I don't like patching holes with holes that you had before. You know, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't like solving a problem with a guy who's been here before. That's why I'm low on Montgomery.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, Shelby Miller, I guess I was just advocating for that, but he wasn't a reliever when he was here. So
well, and that's a long time ago. Like Shelby Miller's not part of the current problem. I see what you're saying. I don't know. I think personally, I'd be really happy with Hicks coming back because I just think like Hicks makes your team better. You need to get better right now. Hicks is a good way to do that. But also, it's really hard because Hicks is a guy that like in May, I jumped on the train of DFA Jordan Hicks right now, or else I'm not going to turn the TV on tomorrow to watch the game. And yeah, he proved me wrong. And I'm like happy to eat my words and say like I was wrong. And most Cardinals fans were wrong. Everyone was calling for his head. But like, do you want to hand out a 3-year, $33 million deal for a guy who like did it, but he only did it for 3.5 months? And right before those 3.5 months, you wanted him off your team. So it makes me nervous. Like guys who perform well in contract years, you're not always getting that guy. Like you're probably not getting July Jordan Hicks. You're getting a mix. So.
Yeah, it's always so weird with relievers. Like you could sign some random guy and he's like one of the best relievers in all of baseball. He's somehow an all-star, and then next year he just falls off. Like
well, I mean, that's the Brett Cecil experience. Yeah, do you know how good Brett Cecil was with the Blue Jays before the Cardinals signed him? Let me just pull this up. Like it is absurd. So he went to St. Louis in 2017 on like a multi-year deal and they ended up cutting him. He wasn't even that bad in 2017 in St. Louis, but he was dreadful the next year. But like before he came to St. Louis, this was his ERA from 2013 through 2016. 282 in 60 innings, 270 in 53 innings, 248 in 54 innings, 393 in 36 innings with an injury. Every year he was like really, really good. He was like a 140 to 165 ERA plus guy over that stretch. And then he got to St. Louis and like just forgot how to pitch. So it makes me nervous.
I don't want to give out another big contract to a reliever. If Josh Hader signs here and he's 2022 Josh Hader, I'm going to be really sad and it's going to be really upsetting because that probably also means we didn't add that 6th starting pitcher, which Mo, please, I want you to say we have 6 starting pitchers and actually be able to live up to it. I think that would be a really nice way to kind of repay it and be like, hey, we have 6 starting pitchers now and we actually do have 6 starting pitchers. That would be cool. But yeah, it's just there's not that much. Matsui was the guy I really wanted to go after. He would eat a lot of innings, kind of like Jordan Hicks does, but he has more control. He doesn't walk nearly as many guys because his fastball isn't as wild. But I guess that's just kind of you never really know with the relievers is the point. Just kind of flip a coin, sign a guy. Maybe we'll sign Aroldis Chapman, and I don't think that's a good fit. But maybe we'll sign him, and he'll be like the Reds version of him. I don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. I think you're right with the I don't want to give out a big reliever contract because those just don't work for the Cardinals. Honestly, name a time since 2010 the Cardinals have given out a big contract to a reliever and it's worked.
Luke Gregerson.
Terrible. Brett Cecil, terrible. Andrew Miller at least took the ball, and it wasn't like a complete waste of money, but he was really bad. And I remember being so excited when they signed him. It was like right after they got Goldschmidt. I was like, oh, they're going for it. And then he was awful. Obviously, Greg Holland was terrible in St. Louis and then was really good with Washington, which is super frustrating. It doesn't really matter like who they've signed and what kind of season they've been coming off of. They've been awful. So it does worry me. I would be okay with the Cardinals signing one like middle-sized reliever contract, one that we would consider big in St. Louis, but other people would say you can eat that. Oh yeah, good Bud Norris call. He was actually pretty good here, but he caused a bunch of clubhouse problems. So that was also something else. Like there's the whole thing where he was like bullying Jordan Hicks or something. It was weird. The Verhagen deal, TK, I really like Verhagen, and I think it's going to be tough for the Cardinals to be without him this year. People are underestimating how much he contributed to the bullpen by taking the ball every day that he was asked and turning in half decent results.
Jose Sada's 36, by the way. Just putting that out there.
I would love that. But yeah, I just think like, I don't know. When the Cardinals seem to do that, it's tough. They probably need to go somewhere though, because they need innings. But then there's also the fact that the Cardinals' internal options are better this year. So I don't really know how that's going to affect how they decide to play this. I think if the Cardinals don't get another starter, it's not the end of the world because they do have guys that could step up and start. I think Michael McGreevy, while he's like underwhelming and he's not an ace, he's probably a really good 4. I've been talking on Twitter for a few days now about how I think he's just better Dakota Hudson. I'll have an article about him coming out on Redbird Rants at some point soon if you guys want to check that out. But basically, he's like Dakota Hudson with no walks, which like that's a really effective pitcher at his best with a good defense behind him if that gets better. So the Cardinals can win without adding a starter. It's just, can they win the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, I really want them to add another starter and just move Matz to the bullpen. I don't want them to trade Matz. I feel like he could be an expensive reliever. That's fine. It's okay. He was really good in the bullpen last year. His numbers were really solid and helped him bounce back to the rotation, and he was solid there too. But like, I feel like if you go out in there and you go trade for like a Dylan Cease or something, instead of running a 6-man rotation, because we're not getting Shohei Ohtani anymore, that hurts to say, but we don't need a 6-man rotation. Just move Matt to the bullpen. He can be a long man, and I feel like that is the one way that you can kind of be like, okay, maybe not adding that much to the bullpen is fine. Maybe go out there and take a flyer on like Woo-Suk Go, or go out there and like just sign a couple people to minor league deals, maybe like Trevor Rosenthal. I feel like he could be a good bounce back candidate to pursue. But if we move Matt to the bullpen, I feel like that solidifies things a lot more than people are thinking right now. And the starting rotation would be like probably better. You still have Thompson as a 6th man. Drew Rom is floating around there somewhere. I mean, he probably is going to have a role on the team. Hello, Josh. How's it going? But yeah, I just go for it, Sandy.
Someone mentioned Riley O'Brien, who I think we can talk a little bit about. He was an all-star last year at the AAA level, part of the Seattle system. They've had a lot of success developing pitchers. I think he could contribute out of the bullpen. I think Ryan Fernandez could contribute out of the bullpen. They've done a lot, I don't know, of these like depth kind of moves. Also, the 2 guys they got back in the Tyler O'Neill trade, one of them is probably organizational depth, but I think Robertson's pretty intriguing. So the Cardinals, like, they can help. They can get better here. Josh is killing me in the chat. I can't even focus. But yeah, I think the Cardinals do have just much, much better depth. And I think that's something that just has been slept on. Like Mozeliak saying we have 6 starters last year, which Andrew brings up all the time. Part of the reason that he said that was he was talking about the depth that they had. I think he was talking about Dakota Hudson. And you don't have Dakota Hudson this year. You have McGreevy and Kloffenstein and Robersa, who I think are all better than Dakota Hudson. And Zach Thompson's better. And even if one of these guys takes a step forward, which I think you can probably be pretty confident that one of them will, like, it's going to be better. So I think by the time we roll into like June, I think one of those guys will have a rotation spot. And that's something I'm excited for. I think there's actually a way to project growth onto this pitching staff that there just wasn't last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it pretty well. The depth is there. There's a lot of guys that can fill innings. There's never really been the issue for us. It's always the top end talent. And that kind of leads into the next point where we need to go out and get one of the top end starters. Shota Imanaga is not a top end starter. So all the people who are saying, "Oh, we missed on Yamamoto, just go get that guy." No. I think his ceiling is like Steven Matz at his best. Like the best version of Steven Matz is probably all Shota Imanaga will ever amount to, which is unfortunate that people are thinking about offering him like $80 million. Jake Woodford is the number 5 starter. Oh no, I completely
Jake Woodford was terrible. Yeah, no, I'm really glad that like the current depth options are so much better than Jake Woodford. I can't state that enough. Like Sem Robersa is 30 times more interesting than Jake Woodford. And that's a really good thing. I think the Cardinals are a lot better just for that reason. And Andrew, I actually kind of want to go back to what you just said about it being the top end talent that's the issue. I'm not even sure that's true. I think the biggest problem with the Cardinals last year was that they didn't have depth. They just ran out of innings because there weren't people ready. Like, yeah, they could have called up like an Andre Gurnia or something, but he clearly wasn't ready to contribute at all. And like, he's not an interesting option to the team, obviously. They clearly weren't very interested in like Connor Thomas, who's a guy that they were talking about playing some kind of role last year. So maybe the top end talent is a problem and like having Sonny Gray is going to help that a lot, but it's like the roster just wasn't shored up. It had holes that they could not fill themselves in season. And even if you do go sign those big deals like the Yankees have done in the past, like stuff happens. Carlos Rodon gets hurt and doesn't pitch at all. And the Yankees are all of a sudden running on fumes with a rotation that everyone projected to be like the best in baseball. You know, like you can go out and acquire guys like Frankie Montas, who at the time was a huge get. You can go get a guy like Carlos Rodon, and all of a sudden neither of them's pitching for you. And if you don't have depth, what are you doing? Even the Dodgers last year, the vaunted Dodgers ran out of depth and their rotation was kind of running on fumes at the end of the year. Although I don't think they'll have that problem this year. I think they've done enough.
I think there's actually a chance that Yamamoto's a bust. There's Tyler Glass now just gets hurt, and they have the same exact rotation they had last year. So I don't know. Maybe I'm saying that I don't even want to say what I'm thinking, because if I speak, I am in big trouble. So that's all I'm going to say.
Let's talk about what I think is one of the most interesting and underappreciated pieces of kind of the Yamamoto saga here. What happens to Clayton Kershaw now? I'm not saying he's going to be a Cardinal, but like, is he a Dodger? They don't need him. And I can't see them wanting him in their starting rotation right now. Like, obviously there's the legacy angle, but if you're the Dodgers and you've just acquired Yamamoto's your game 1 starter, right? You're also like Tyler Glasnow and Walker Buehler are like sharpied into your rotation right now. Bobby Miller is their emerging ace. They have to give him innings. Is he? And reports from literally tonight, 1 minute ago, Dodgers Nation put out that the Rangers they had reps in Los Angeles pursuing Clayton Kershaw. What do they do? And there's no way.
Rangers really going to add another old guy who's going to get hurt. Like, I'm sorry, but DeGrom is going to be like out most of next year. Scherzer already had like some surgery and he's going to be out for like half of the year. Like, are they really going to go out and take a risk on a guy who's not going to be available until July? Like, I really don't think that's a good fit for them.
I would honestly, like, I would pay Kershaw right now. Kershaw, it's just a guarantee that every single year he's going to be great. He's 35.
Yeah, but like, I'm also a firm believer in playoff Kershaw. I know a lot of Dodger fans will say that, like, oh, it's just a fluke or whatnot, like a small sample size. But at this point, it's really not. He's made enough postseason starts to just know that he doesn't have it. He's not the same pitcher in October.
Dude, Kershaw is MLB's like all-time ERA leader.
Yeah.
Like okay. He's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. If that guy's active and like still wants to pitch, I would pay him whatever he wants right now still. Like, obviously, I'm not going to sign him to some massive multi-year deal. But if a couple of years ago, Kershaw said that there were only 3 teams he would go to, and it was the Dodgers, the Rangers, and the Cardinals. And I think if you're talking about if he's not going to be a Dodger anymore, go outbid the Rangers for him. Talk about making a trade after the deadline. Getting Clayton Kershaw back is basically making a trade. That's a classic Mosaic line.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I know Clayton Kershaw is one of the best pitchers of all time. I get it, but I'm in desperate need of some postseason success for this team, and I really, really don't want to rely on Clayton Kershaw, who we have seen firsthand as Cardinal fans. We have gotten the rewards of playoff Kershaw.
Okay, let me also just say, no, that Matt Adams home run, like, it was a low moment for Kershaw, but he still went 7 innings and gave up 3 runs. Like, that's a game that you say, hey, we should be able to win this game still. That's not a bad
but there was
start.
the Carpenter game too. Like that was
that one was awesome. That was like Kershaw blowing up in the first. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like that was just horrendous. Like I mean,
Sure.
When you think of playoff Kershaw, you think of the Cardinals. You might think of the Diamondbacks. He had an awful start last year against them. You might think of like Washington. I think he came in relief and gave up a grand slam to Hendrick.
That was
but
crazy.
Like, was that Kershaw? I think it was. But like, like you just think of those low moments, and then you just think of the Cardinal games because it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, and if Kershaw replaces Matz, everyone in the rotation is 35 or older. So that's awesome.
Hey, we've already had that before. We've had them all 38 or over. So
yeah, and then guess who we lost to in the playoffs that year?
Yeah.
So,
but that was really, really fun. Okay, that was a really fun team.
I guess. But
Andrew, have you done the Immaculate Grid yet today?
What are we transitioning that quickly?
No, I was just saying we should throw it on in the background and do it while we do this.
Okay. I mean, we can do it on air right now. Like we can do the.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I just had that thought.
Cardinals Hall of Fame 30th stolen base season and 100 RBI plus season.
Wait, there's a Cardinals thing? Hold up.
Oh,
but I don't know.
The grid.
Oh no, I was just wondering if you didn't already.
Throw it up.
But I don't know. I think if Kershaw is not going to be a Dodger, which like he probably will be, but I just can't see them like wanting him to get innings still. And so I just wonder where this leaves him. Obviously, the legacy angle is like, hey, you never want him to wear someone else's uniform. You want him to retire as an all-time Dodgers great. And I get that. But like, I don't know. And if he's a Dodger this year, like, I don't think he's a Dodger next year. I think he will leave.
Well, okay, you have to understand a couple things about like the Dodgers are probably gonna like if Roki Sasaki comes over next year, he's probably gonna end up with the Dodgers because that's just how it goes now.
That would
I guess they all.
Do you think so? Do you think that could really happen?
League minimum. If he comes over next year, like a lot of people are saying, he's coming for league minimum, which is ridiculous.
That would be foul.
Like Japan has a different like way of playing baseball, and one of the ways that is different over there for them is they run 6-man rotations.
Yeah.
Now, like Kodai Senga, when he comes over, like he is in a 5-man rotation. He pitches once every 5 days, and that's fine. Yamamoto, I think he would pitch like 116 pitch starts. Like in the playoffs, I think he pitched like 130 pitches. So, like that kind of accounts for the extra rest days that you get, but like. It's a little bit different. But there's one Japanese pitcher that still has to have a 6-man rotation, and they kind of just signed him. I don't know if he's kind of not very well known, but there's this like up and coming prospect that they just signed who has to be in a 6-man rotation every start. So. I feel like a 6-man rotation with Yamamoto, Glasnow, who's going to get hurt probably, Walker Buehler, who's coming off Tommy John surgery, and Bobby Miller, and who else do they have? Sheehan, Gonsolin, I guess. Gonsolin's probably going to get traded or like something. I don't know.
Is Gonsolin still there?
I think he is, yeah.
That's crazy. They have so much pitching depth right now.
Like Clayton Kershaw will just be like your 6-man in the rotation. And I feel like you need a seasoned veteran to give you that experience. And is Tyler Glasnow, how many innings has he thrown in Major League level?
He's not a seasoned.
Walker Buehler, he just came off Tommy John. He's not really probably going to be the same guy Bobby Miller's a rookie. Sheehan's a rookie. Gonsolin doesn't have much experience. So you need a guy to like anchor that rotation. And I feel like Kershaw would be the perfect guy to do it, especially because he's probably willing to go back to LA on a discount, right? Like
I would think so.
Yeah. Like Shohei Ohtani is probably the guy on that team right now with the most major league pitching experience, which is scary because he's not pitching next year. He's not part of that staff next year. He's a DH.
I just like him still. The fact that they haven't signed him yet is really telling to me. Like the Cardinals or the Dodgers normally get this done really quickly. It's like a formality. It's like, oh, Clayton Kershaw's a free agent again this year. Great. He's locked up by like November 5th. And there's no intrigue. He never talks to the media about it. There's no nothing. There's no noise. Yeah. And now, like, the Rangers have reps in Los Angeles. I just think that's like a kind of a big deal here, where it's like, if it was going to happen immediately, it would have already happened. And it's weird to me that they've filled out other pieces of their rotation and their roster without addressing the Clayton Kershaw question.
I mean, I feel like Clayton Kershaw, like, it's not a matter of whether or not he wants to go back to the Dodgers, because who doesn't want to be teammates with Shohei Ohtani?
Exactly.
Yamamoto. It's probably a lack of interest on the Dodgers side, which
that's what I'm saying here. Yeah.
Interesting, but like, are the Dodgers really not going to want him to like retire with them and like build a giant Clayton Kershaw statue outside the stadium? And,
I think Clayton Kershaw is getting a statue either way.
Oh, well, yeah, but
I see what do they want him to only have worn Dodger blue for his whole career?
They saw Albert Pujols. They had him for like 6 months. As much as I don't want to admit it, and like the Dodger fans will claim, oh, he's ours.
That makes me sick.
No, he's not.
That makes me sick.
But like, they got to see what that kind of like retiring with your team, like, even though Pujols spent 12 years or whatever in Southern California running away, like, he got his farewell tour with the Cardinals, and like, they probably see what that's worth to them. And like, I mean, just for the marketing, right? The Dodgers are making so many smart business decisions. Why would you cut ties with Clayton Kershaw? That makes no sense.
I don't know.
If you want to just throw him away, like, I mean, if the Cardinals want to take him, that would be fine.
Does Kershaw want to be the sixth man? Like, does he not want to be penciled in as a member of your rotation?
I mean, with Miller, and like, he'll probably start higher than Miller and like Sheehan and like the rookies, right?
I don't think so.
He started over them in the playoffs. Like, it didn't go well, but he still started.
Yeah. And that made sense last year because he was on the roster, right? But like, he's not on the roster right now. And I just think if you're the Dodgers, why would you not want to develop your young ace? Like, you're not going to bring up Bobby. They think Miller's going to be an ace, right? And Miller had a really, really good rookie year. I just can't see them having him at the MLB level and not being in the rotation. And I think the exact same goes for Emmett Sheehan. Like, I just
had a random thought pop into my head. I don't know if this is viable at all, but what if we traded Tony Gonsolin for Tommy Edman? Because the Dodgers need a shortstop.
I think the Dodgers can just go get a better shortstop, though. I think the Dodgers are
going to get. Who's available right now?
Oh, Bichette.
He's not available.
The Dodgers can make him available.
By offering what? They have to offer the Blue Jays so much for that.
I don't know. I think if the Dodgers offered like a Matt Bush, a catcher, one of their like catching prospects, like, they could easily make something like that happen. Or just like Stone, like one of their interesting starters. They have so many. It's crazy.
Like, Gonsolin was bad last year, but in 2022, he pitched a 2.14 ERA, got a little lucky, 3.28 FIP, but that's really solid stuff from a guy who, like, suffered a couple of injuries, but like, they're rumored to be in on the shortstop market right now. And at the start of the year, or at the start of the offseason, like, MLB.com's number one free agent shortstop was Paul DeJong. So like,
yeah, the shortstop market's bad.
They're not really able to get a guy unless they have to like trade for him. And I feel like Gonsolin doesn't fit on that roster anymore, especially if they bring back Kershaw.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Tommy Edman would be like, we're just kind of swapping salaries, right? I feel like Gonsolin's kind of arbitration, sort of. Like, we would cut a little bit of salary, but like, I don't know.
Hear me out. Dodgers get. Wait, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Dodgers get Dylan Cease and Tim Anderson from the White Sox.
Tim Anderson
rehab Tim Anderson to being a good player. Because do you remember when Tim Anderson was like supposed to be kind of the next big?
Tim Anderson made the USA WBC team as the starting shortstop. Can you tell me, like, Corey Seager, Trey Turner was on that team and he wasn't a shortstop? Like, what was going on?
Tim Anderson damn near almost won an MVP in 2020. Tim Anderson had a 4-year stretch, okay? From 2019 to 2022, he had 2 All-Star selections, received MVP votes, won a Silver Slugger, and he went 128, 140, 118, 109 OPS plus. And then last year fell off a cliff.
Didn't it take Tim Anderson like the entirety of Matt Manning's Tommy John rehab to hit a home run?
Yes.
Or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yes. That dude won a batting title. He smacked 18 home runs right after hitting 20 in 2019 and 2018. Like, it's crazy how far that dude fell. And why not? Like, why can't the Dodgers go get him? And they'll throw in a trade for Class A too, just for fun.
Well, Tim Anderson's a free agent. They just signed him for like a minor league deal or something. Like,
oh wait, is he?
Or they like who else? Who else is available? They're gonna go eat all of Javier Baez's contract. Like, what's going on? Like, there's no one else that they could go do.
Go get Bregman and let Lux play shortstop.
I guess. I mean, they have Muncy at third base, so I feel like Lux is kind of the odd man out here. But
I guess I forget. I don't think Muncy will see the field that much. They could trade
Max.
Whoa!
They have a DH locked up. He's got to play the field.
No, I'm saying like I don't think he'll play much.
Oh,
like,
I mean, they're paying him quite a bit.
I think they could move him. I think the Astros at Taliak, I think they could move Bregman. They're already talking about moving Framber, and they really need to restock their farm if they want to keep contending. I could see the Dodgers packaging those two. And honestly, it's just like at this point, how can you doubt the Dodgers at all? Like anything that they've wanted to make happen, they have made happen.
Except Lance Lynn. That didn't work. Which makes me very scared for this year, by the way. If the Dodgers couldn't fix him, I don't know what we can possibly. Also, William.
That's right. Josh has been mentioning that too. And Michael, I'm not sure why they're wanting to move Valdez, but they've been talking about it, and it's been something that's
something in him.
Caught a lot of traction.
That's like a warning sign or something. I'm hesitant to trade for any of those guys because the Astros. We know the Astros are always going to be there, and like if they're trying to move on from Valdez or whoever, I'm going to be cautious about it.
I don't know. I could see the Astros resetting. I think they have like 1 or 2 more good years left, but also I could see them retooling and trying to extend their window or open it up bigger later. Because like after this year, they're going to lose a lot of their young pitching. That's all going to be gone. They're not going to extend them. We've noticed the Astros like don't bring guys back.
By the way, Gonsolin, I don't put a lot of stock in this website, but Gonsolin has negative value on BTV, and Tommy Edman has 12.1 value. So I feel like that would actually be a really bad deal according to this website. I don't put any stock in baseball trade values, but like my intuition.
I think Edman is worth more than Gonsolin, and I think you could get more for him, but it wouldn't be terrible. He's been like Gonsolin's been good in the past, and that'd be one of those pitchers I was fine with the Cardinals getting, but I think you get someone better for Edman.
I mean, he led the league in wins. I know I don't put stock in wins either, but like he led the league in wins at a 2.14 just last year. Did he fall apart in the playoffs? A little bit, but you got to get there first.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to get there.
I don't know. I think to not playoff Kershaw because like Kershaw won't really be there for the whole year. Like you basically buy him for the stretch run and like
you get him back in July. But I mean, everyone's been talking about the Cardinals making some kind of trade, and to acquire an ace at the deadline. It's like, man, if you can sign someone and get him back at the deadline. And it's probably cheaper because you're not going to have him for a lot of the year.
Yeah, Lucas Giolito.
I would like Lucas Giolito.
That's not a guy that I'm like too high on, but he's kind of like Flaherty, but like different. You know, like he's like they went to the same high school, so I guess they're.
Yeah, I was going to say
like he's like Flaherty, but like from a different team, and he got like he went to a couple like really broken teams. Like Cleveland fell apart towards the end, and the Angels are just the Angels. They turn everything everything they touch like just melts. It just goes away. So like,
I mean, if you look at what he did with the White Sox, it wasn't all that bad. Yeah, he had a 3.79 ERA, and his FIP he was totally overperforming his FIP and everything. But like, I don't know, his hits per 9 was like normal. He still was racking up a lot of strikeouts. Wasn't issuing a billion free passes, and then he left and he had a sudden walk issue, which makes me think like that's just not a huge deal. Like all of a sudden he was just walking.
That's just the Angels and their pitching coaching, and it's just bad. But
also he left and started giving up a lot more homers, like uncharacteristically, and he's always been a guy that's had a bit of a homer problem. But he went to Cleveland and he gave up literally 11 home runs in 30 innings. right after giving up 10 home runs in 30 innings with the Angels. But yeah, I'd be fine with Giolito. I think Giolito is a fine 3. I think Giolito's a guy that you're like, okay, great. He's going to give me like a 3.9. And that makes me happy. Like, that's the type of thing that the Cardinals need to go do, in my opinion, because it still makes the team better.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I want to strike gold with the guy. And I know that's hard because the Cardinals, like with Dusty Blake and whatnot, like, I'm not too big a fan of him and what they're doing. But, like, you got Yadier Molina back. He's really good at working with pitchers. So, like, if you get him to, like, fix one of those guys in spring training, you never know. Like, he fixed John Lester and TJ McFarland as well, but, like, and Jay Happ and Wade LeBlanc and all those guys that you just never heard from again. They all retired with the Cardinals because no one else wanted them. So, like, I don't know, maybe the pitching factory is back with Yadier Molina, but it's just something that Mike Maddox, who fixed Nathan Eovaldi, turned him into a Cy Young candidate. Remember that?
Yeah, I miss Mike Maddox too. I think having Yadi back is going to be a big thing. I also just think, like, we have to wait for this young talent to percolate, and that really sucks. Like, I'm sick and tired of waiting for it too. But the Cardinals were like really advanced, and we've talked about this with Josh a bunch. The Cardinals had an advanced pitching development system for a long time, right? And then the whole league kind of caught up to them, and they totally, like, sometime around 2015 or 2016, they started transitioning away from stuff, and they were like all about pitching to contact and just getting it done with a good defense, the vacuum, whatnot. And so you kind of like had an era where they stopped producing high ceiling pitching prospects. And like all the guys that came up, you had like Zach Thompson was a first round pick and Michael McGreevy was a first round pick in back-to-back drafts. And it's like, I'm sorry, those guys are fun, but they're not the exciting guys that you need if you're going to have top end pitching talent that you develop. And now since then, especially in the last 2 years, they've switched back. And it seems like they're a little bit more analytical minded than they have been. And you've seen them go draft guys like Tink Hence, where, it's totally a question as to whether he gets the control down. And it's totally a question as to whether he ever can handle the workload of being a starter on a major league roster. And he could end up in the bullpen. He's a high variance prospect. But at the same time, no one will be shocked if Tink Hence goes and pitches at the front of a rotation and gets Cy Young votes. And it's like now Takeo Roby is in that boat, and Cooper Jerpy's kind of in that boat a little bit. Even Gordon Graceffo is like a power arm. They're not just drafting control artists like Michael McGreevy, who at his very best is probably a 4.
I'll circle back to this question from David about Shota Imanaga. He's not going to be our number 2. If you look at his numbers this year, they're like comparable. Like they're slightly worse than what Miles Michaelis put up in Japan. But Miles Michaelis pitched in a much less friendly run environment for pitchers. Right now, Japan's going through like a dead ball era. Ball is not flying at all. I don't know what's going on over there, but the hitters are just not having a good time in Japan. Shota Imanaga is like a slightly above league average pitcher in Japan. So I feel like that translating to Major League Baseball would be like a 3 or a 4 starter at best. Probably going to end up towards the back of that rotation. I feel like even Kyle Gibson would probably have a better season than Imanaga did in Japan. So I'm not high on him. I haven't been high on him really ever. He has a nice fastball. His fastball is good, but in Japan, good fastballs with high velocity are not very common. That's why Roki Sasaki, Shohei Ohtani do so well over there, and they're kind of like the only guys that translate. Imanaga doesn't throw 102 miles an hour, unfortunately, so we're not going to be getting that from him. His fastball is just going to be like slightly above average in Major League Baseball. It's not going to be that.
Isn't that his best pitch too? Like, isn't that his bread and butter?
He's a fast guy. So
yeah,
I don't know. Not too high on him. He could prove me wrong. He could go out and have a Kodai Senga-like year, and I'll eat my words on him. But right now, I'm not that excited about him.
I mean, this is exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying about the forward markets now. It's like, hey, the talent, there's premium talent that comes out of the Japanese baseball league, right? Like NPB produced Shohei Ohtani, and it's produced Yamamoto, who I think will be really good. Do I think he's worth $395 million with the posting fee and the signing bonus? No. But I think he's going to be a really good pitcher. Obviously, Kodai Senga's really good. Yu Darvish has been really good in MLB, but also, like, we see these deals fail all the time. Akiyama, like, that guy stunk.
The hitters always struggle, but yeah.
Koji Uehara was a reliever that came over with like all the hype in the world for some reason, didn't do anything. Yusei Kikuchi is okay now, but like it took him a long time to get to this point. It took him years to adjust to major league level hitting.
Okay, but Yusei Kikuchi was also worth some Miles Michaelis in the Japanese league. Some of the hype is really odd. I feel like some people see a Japanese name like, oh, Ichiro, Otani, I know those guys, so it must be a good Japanese player. But some like most of the Japanese guys that come over here, you never hear from them again because
who's the guy that went to the Rangers?
Kohei Arihara.
Yeah,
there's another guy coming over who comes very similar to him. I'm not even going to talk about him. I'm going to butcher his name because I haven't practiced it, but he's not good. If the Cardinals sign him, I'll be very upset. Yariel Rodriguez is the guy I want to talk about because like a lot of teams are like really in on him and a lot of fans like really want the Cardinals to sign him. But he's a really interesting case. I wrote an article about him on Red Bull Rants a while back. A couple things I really like about him. He was a top tier reliever. Like really, really good reliever in the Japanese league. Shintaro Fujinami is a guy that I feel like could be like a minor league deal kind of guy that we could go.
But not back to the rotation.
Yeah,
not how that works.
Absolutely.
Put him in the pen, and he's
but Yariel Rodriguez, he was a very, very good reliever in Japan. That's my concern, however, is that he wants to start next year. And the last time the Cardinals tried to turn a starter or a reliever into a starter just didn't go well with Jordan Hicks. And I don't think that if he wants to start in Major League Baseball, he'll be anything more than a depth option. If he wants to be a bullpen arm, I'm all for it. Give him like the Matsui deal ×2, like whatever. Like he's really, really good in the pen. And we saw what he did in the WBC. He started a couple of games. He was all right. He was pretty good. But that was like 2 games in the WBC. It doesn't really tell me anything about how he's going to fare against Major League pitching. And I'm high on the WBC. I like the WBC a lot, but I need to see more than just those 2 starts. And what concerns me even more about Rodriguez is that he hasn't pitched at all this year. He pitched in the WBC. He tried to come over after the WBC. They didn't work. And he hasn't seen any game action at all this year, which is concerning.
I just like still I worry about what's gonna happen if you go spend way more than you should on somebody coming out of the NPB. I'm sure he was a good reliever there. But like,
he was very good reliever.
Why would I double the Matsui deal when I can get someone like Jordan Hicks, who's already done it at the MLB level for the same amount or less?
Well, I don't think you'll get double the Matsui deal. I was just saying, like, even
okay.
Like, no.
But I just think like, I think yes, there's premium talent, but the reason that the reason the Cardinals have gone to those leagues in the past, like Kwang Hyun Kim, massive bargain. And like, I really wish he'd stayed in MLB because he was succeeding. He was excelling. He was awesome, especially in 2020. He was unbelievable. I think he was like MLB's ERA leader that year. He just didn't have enough innings to qualify. He was amazing. But these guys, they're bargains. Miles Michaelis was a bargain. Drew Verhagen would have been a bargain had he been really good. He was honestly, like I said, very underappreciated his second year here because of how bad his first year was and the narrative that he was Drew Verhomer. Like, that's really rough. But bargain. Like, these guys were all bargains. And so I think once you start going and you start spending what is considered like fair market value, it's not a bargain anymore. And I'd be okay just kind of pumping the brakes. Also, I think Hicks is like a 3 for 30 to 3 for 31-ish, somewhere in that range. I would not go 4 years with Jordan Hicks personally. And I think if I did, I would lower the AAV and I would do like 4 for 36. Yeah. I don't know if you would take it, but I personally would not pay that amount.
I mean, Jordan Hicks is what people on Twitter tell me Trevor Rosenthal is, except we're signing Trevor Rosenthal to a minor league deal and we're signing Jordan Hicks for like 4 for 40. Like, Jordan Hicks scares every time
we need a Trevor Rosenthal reunion.
Oh yeah.
Please,
bring it back, please.
Go.
It would be so great.
I need it more than air. Oh my goodness. I was doing the quote tweet Yamamoto thing like every day until he signed, and I'm just going to start doing a quote tweet Trevor Rosenthal. So
yeah, I mean, that's reachable. That's a reachable goal, and we know Trevor, and he wants to come back. So
we love Trevor. Okay.
All the Cardinals have to do is just sign him, and it's going to be like a minor league deal because he signed a minor league deal last year and didn't work out. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and he's still got time to go in his rehab process and everything. So he's not looking for a ton of money. And Trevor just loves baseball. Like, it's been so much fun having him on here. Hopefully he's on here again at some point. But yeah, the Cardinals, like, that's the type of guy where the ceiling is high and the floor is low and the risk is nothing. So it's like they should go sign Trevor Rosenthal for sure. I wish they would listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I know Mo's watching. I know you're watching.
Are there any other relievers that you really like out there? Like Phil Maton would be really fun for us.
I like Carlos Estevez. I got so attached to the Angels players while I was over there being a fan of them. And I think they should rebuild. But even if they don't rebuild, Carlos Estevez has one more year left on his contract. He's played in two horrible teams. The Rockies, which no one ever does well pitching for the Rockies. And the Angels, he kind of fell off second half, kind of like an Alex Reyes sort of situation. But I think the overall morale on that team just fell off after Shohei Ohtani got hurt. But like at the trade deadline, if the Angels aren't in contention, they won't be in contention. But if they're not in contention, that's a guy that we should look into trading for at the deadline. I don't think we'll be able to trade for him now because the Angels are going to pretend to compete. They're going to sign Bellinger. He's going to be Anthony Rendon. And they're going to sign Blake Snell, and he's going to be Tyler Anderson. But they're going to try. So we'll try to get Estevez at the deadline.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. I think another option is Adam Ottavino. I would really, really like to see him. And he did debut with the Cardinals. I feel like most people don't know this, but I talk about it all the time. I think he'd be great. What I really love about Ottavino is just he takes the ball every day. And that's something that the Cardinals don't necessarily have. Like Giovanni Gallegos has that bulldog mentality, and so does Jojo Romero. Like those guys want the ball every day. But Ryan Helsley, and this is not a dig at Ryan Helsley. I really, really love Ryan Helsley. But he doesn't take it every day. And that's okay. He knows that he's not at his best when he does that. So I'm fine with that. Like if he's best utilized as a guy that pitches every 2 or 3 days, that's fine. But
Aaron Loop is another guy. Aaron Loop is another guy. I didn't like watching him play for the Angels, but he was really good with the Mets in 2021. 0.95 ERA through 56.2 innings. He was nasty.
That's amazing.
He fell off in Anaheim completely, but his FIP wasn't too bad. Last year, 4.36 FIP. He's
good
also
kind
of nearing the end of his career, but he has a funky delivery. I don't like hitting off him in MLB The Show, but that's my own problem. And he just seems like a guy that we could fix. Like we fixed a lot of soft tossing lefties. Aaron Loop could be the next guy. You know, you never know.
Dude, guess how many innings Adam Ottavino has pitched since 2017? This is a 7-year period, or I guess it's an 8-year stretch, including the 2020 season, the shortened season.
Say like 200.
You think 200 innings? He has thrown 405 innings.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man, this guy, like, we need him.
His FIP was bad last year, though. Not okay. Like he kind of tanked a little bit. Like Aaron Loop kind of tanked a little bit too, but like Ottavino, and he's also a couple years older than Loop. So
Ottavino also still put up a 3.21 ERA and appeared in 6.
Bring back Ryan Cepera? I think not.
Dude, listen to this. Since Ottavino got hurt in 2016 and then got healthy, this is how many games he's appeared in every season. And the ERA has fluctuated a little bit. He's had bad years, but he's also had a lot of really good years. But he's just available. Listen to this. 63, 75, 73, 24 in the shortened season, and that was his worst year. 69, nice. 66, 66. This guy is always there. He takes the ball, and that's what we need. People are just completely underestimating how important Chris Stratton was for the Cardinals. In 1 year with the Cardinals, they absolutely rode Chris Stratton, and he was really good. Chris Stratton with the Cardinals, listen to this. In 1 year, right, trade deadline to trade deadline, he appeared in 62 games. That's a big deal. He pitched 76 innings for the Cardinals in 1 year. You're losing 76 innings a year. And you're also losing Drew Verhagen's 60-some games and 60 innings. Like, that's a lot to replace. And I like the internal options more than I have in the past, but I think you need a workhorse.
Yeah, you need a Chad innings eater. That's for sure.
Ottavino is the Chad innings eater of relievers.
That's true.
Gordon Lyles?
No, thank you.
I'll pass.
I'll answer this question again about the Cardinals signing Hader and trading for He's just Ryan Helsley throwing from the left side. Trading for Lazardo, I like a lot more. But I'm also really, really terrified of Skip Schumacher poaching one of the guys that he likes from over here because he knows the team well and he's going to know who he wants to play for him in the future. But it would be nice. Lazardo struggled a lot in Oakland and then figured it out in Miami. And hopefully we can land someone like him. He'd be a great number 2 to have. I think he started the first game for the Marlins in the playoffs, so that's good. What did you say, Sandy?
I have no idea. I just asked. Dude, I'll say like the Josh Hader trade, like I wouldn't hate it so much. Like Hader's going to be expensive, but he shows that he can strike people out no matter what. And he's always going to strike out like 2 guys per inning, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, Jordan
Lyles. Jordan Lyles would be really fun. But yeah, he would suck.
But Kyle Gibson was the Chad innings eater at one point. So we do have one of those guys.
I love me an innings eater. And Kyle Gibson is going to munch innings in St. Louis. People are going to like him a lot more. He's going to rack up some wins. He's going to have a lot of quality starts. I'm talking myself into the Kyle Gibson experience.
I was all for Kyle Gibson, but like they came after the Lance Lynn signing, so that's why I was a little bit lower on.
Yeah, I'm talking myself out of the Lance Lynn experience.
Yeah, if the Dodgers couldn't fix Lance Lynn, as a certified Dodgers apologist, which I know you've gotten to know that side of me a lot more in the last couple of days. If they couldn't fix Lance Lynn, then Lance Lynn's just done.
Yeah, probably. But like, okay, sorry. Back to Lazardo. I think stuff-wise, Lazardo matches up with almost anybody in baseball. Like, I think if you put him and Logan Gilbert side to side, Gilbert has done it longer and had better results for longer, but I think Lazardo's stuff is better than his. Lazardo is an electric pitcher. And do I think Lazardo can go out and win a Cy Young someday? Yes, he can. I'm not going to say he will. I would never project a pitcher to win a Cy Young, but I think he could. He has the stuff to do it. I think he will be an ace. I also think he costs you Nolan Gorman. And I'm not willing to trade him or Brendan Donovan. And I'll just come out and say it. Like, I don't think the Cardinals should do that. I think if you're going to win, you win on the back of this position player core. You presume health. You presume that your lineup is going to be deadly 1 through 9 all year long. And that's how you win. That's how this Cardinals team wins. And I don't want to break that up. But I think Lazardo's awesome. And if they got Lazardo and Hader, like, yeah, I'd be excited. And I would love Lazardo. It wouldn't be his fault that they had to give up Gorman. But I would be very, very sad to see Gorman or Donovan mashing in Miami.
Yeah, that would hurt. I think Gorman is the guy I definitely don't want to part with. But if his back issues are real, yeah, they could prove me wrong and be like, oh, okay. I guess we'll do that. But Sandy, I guess you want to do the Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, we should do the Immaculate Grid really quickly. Also, the Dodgers like half fixed Lynn, but he was still really bad there. Let me pull up Lynn's stats with the Dodgers. Like, he in LA, yeah, I mean, he was better. And if we get Los Angeles Dodgers Lance Lynn, I think we can win more games. But his FIP actually increased. So before, he was rocking a 6.47 ERA with the White Sox with a 5.19 FIP, which is like terrible ERA, bad FIP. And then his FIP rose all the way up to 6.16. So it rose 0.97, and his ERA inexplicably dropped 2 full points. So all of a sudden he went from being one of the unluckier pitchers in the league to the luckiest pitcher in baseball. But maybe that's just LA has a way of getting around those things. But if we get those results from Lynn, it's not the worst thing ever.
Okay, let's do this grid here.
Cardinals
legends for all of them. I mean, these are all Cardinals legends, but like for these, are we doing those as well?
We can try. We can definitely try.
I mean, the Hall of Famer or the 100 RBI guy, or like the really good offensive guy that everyone forgets about is Rogers Hornsby. So I'm going to put him for this one.
Wait. Don't do it yet. We can definitely think of someone more random. Also, for my Cardinals Hall of Famer, I want to do someone who didn't go in primarily as a Cardinal because I feel like that's dominant. But you could also do like Jim Bob.
Smoltz.
Don't go with Smoltz is a good one. You could go with, I think Larry Walker is in the Hall now. Grover Alexander. He made it.
Did Larry Walker end up making it?
Oh. Yeah, he made it. Because that's the big argument for Helton now is that Larry Walker made it.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to talk about the Hall of Fame ballot. Have you guys seen some of those that have been submitted? If you hate them, throw it in the chat because Some of the ballots are like
not getting votes.
awful thing ever.
I saw the one with the steroid ballot with A-Rod and Manny. And
oh my god!
Adrian Beltre. I was like, what is going on? Like,
did you read his comment?
No,
it was so bad. Also, Taliak, I love Nolan Jones so much. I'm a Nolan Jones like apologist.
I mean, we're getting Nolan Jones, and we're getting all the Nolans because the Rockies are going to give us the next Nolan as well.
I would love that. Cardinals Hall of Famer though, we could go. There's so many options.
Let's go with Jim Smoltz.
Okay, Smoltz is good, or go someone older. Try like Jim Bottomley, Sunny Jim.
Oh, 0.4%.
Oh, let's go. Cardinals.
I don't know who steals bases. I don't know who's fast.
Well, like in recent memory, I think Edmonds stole close to 30 bags, but let's
Roger
not.
Hornsby might have 30 stolen bases in the season.
I don't think Hornsby stole a lot of bases. He was a power hitter.
Yeah.
Then again, guys used to run a lot more back then, but I don't think he would be a great pick for that. I mean, obviously, like Vince Coleman, Lou Brock, Willie McGee stole a lot of bases, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Stolen bases is like the hardest one. I kind of hate it. Who's a random Cardinal that stole a ton of bags?
Sandy, you're pronouncing. Oh dear, I've been challenged to say your name. Talik.
Is it Talik?
Yeah, I think
that's my bad. That's my bad.
Sandy, you messed it up. But Josh says
sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, 30 stolen bases in this season.
My goodness. Do you guys have? If you guys have any suggestions for this too, let's work in columns here. I like working in columns.
Get a Mets Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Mets Hall of Famer. I mean, Darryl Strawberry is he in the Hall though? I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
I don't think he is at all. Like Tom Seaver is the obvious answer.
Wow, I said his name right, Sandy. I said Talik's name right.
Well, now I know. So I'm gonna never get it wrong again. I apologize though. Dude,
I feel like Tom Seaver is going to be like 60%.
It is.
He's like the only Mets Hall of Famer I can think of right now.
Oh, Peter Borges is so good for Cardinals. Did he steal 30 bags in one season with the Cardinals?
I don't think he did. I really don't think he did because he was a bench player.
I really liked Peter Borges for a little bit.
There's some of the grid categories I really like that are random. Like these you kind of can't go with like random players, but like there's some of them that are like born outside the US and there's like 100 guys you could choose from.
Yeah, that's the best. Well, I mean, Nolan Ryan was a Met for a little bit. Oh, I think Pedro Martinez was a Met.
Oh, yeah.
I think he could be a really good one. Yeah,
Is it this one?
Oh, hold up.
It's got to be this one, right? Because the other one played for 4 years.
Yeah, it's the top one.
Oh,
okay, not bad. Cincinnati Reds. Dude.
For whatever reason, I always say Pete Rose here, even though like the whole thing is that he's not in the Hall of Fame, so I'm not going to be dumb this time.
Do you actually?
I've done it before. It's not good. It's just like I don't know.
Joe Morgan was a Red for a long time. He's in the Hall of Fame, but that might be obvious. He's pretty well known. Scott Rowland's a good one. Who am I thinking of right now? Ted Simmons was never a Red, was he? He was a Brewer and a Cardinal, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he was someone else too. Yeah, Rowland's a pretty good. He just is so recent.
Yeah.
I wonder.
We'll go someone else. Yeah, 3%. We're good.
Nice. You know who else Rowland played for?
The Phillies and the Blue Jays.
Nice. Yeah, Blue Jays.
No one's tracking his flights.
Bake McBride from Kenny Jacobs. Hold up.
For stolen bases.
I don't even know who that is, but I feel like we can trust him.
I trust Kenny Jacobs.
Trust him.
Oh,
let's go. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, Willie McGee. He won an MVP in 91, I think. I love Willie. Who stole a bunch of bases for the Mets? What speedsters have they had?
They had that one guy who won like 3 World Series, but he didn't steal 30 bases. The designated pinch runner.
Oh, I don't know.
What's his name? I forgot his name. It doesn't matter. He didn't steal 30 bases. Is Lindor a 30-30 guy?
No, definitely not with New York, right?
Yeah.
I think early in his career he might have been. Or he might have gotten close. He might have been like a 25 guy.
Beltran stole 30 bases. Was he a 30-30 guy?
I don't know.
30, 30 guys are so hard to find.
I think Lindor actually got to 30 this last year. I don't think he got to 30 homers, but I feel like he stole 30 bags.
Yeah.
We could do him, or we could do
Angel Pagan. Isn't that a pitcher? That sounds like a pitcher.
No. Pagan played for the Giants for a long time. Was he a Met too? I hated Angel Pagan. He was on those Giants teams in the early 2010s, and he was like a menace. I think he was a center fielder. But I think he was a Met too for a while. I don't know. That's a pretty random one. I don't remember him playing for the Mets, but I feel like we can trust. Because I think Beltran early in his career was a good speed threat. He might have gotten 30 with the Mets. Go with Pagan.
Oh, 0.5%. Very nice.
Let's go. Our chat is goated, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man. Reds. There's a guy like Eric Davis or something who stole a ton of bags for the Reds.
Shortstop prospect. I don't think he stole 30 bases.
No, he did not. There's a guy for the Reds that stole.
You would think the fastest man in the world could steal 30 bases, but I guess not.
No, there's a guy for the Reds that stole like a billion bases one year, Eric Davis. I read something about him, and they were like, he had one of the best years split between 2 years, and then got.
Is that too common though? Do we want to try for something better?
Well, he's not like a Hall of Fame or anything. Okay. I feel like it was a long time ago.
Well, it might be kind of high. I feel like Billy Hamilton's going to be the top for this one.
I think so too.
Oh, 15%.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just killed our rarity score. 100 plus ribbies for the Cardinals. You can definitely go back in time here and find someone who did it. Rogers Hornsby did it a bunch. I feel like
Rogers Hornsby is always like 3%.
Yeah, but
good Cardinal categories.
I feel like there could be someone more random, although I don't know. I was looking at Enos Slaughter's stats last time we were like doing our teams. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he hit for 100 ribbies.
We haven't published that yet. We're giving them a little tease of what's.
Oh, yeah. There's some content coming later. We drafted our like all-time Cardinals teams, and my team's the best. But those will be coming out later on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Enos Slaughter, though. I was looking at his numbers before I selected him, and I'm pretty sure he did it.
If you're wrong, then
I'm not gonna be wrong. I swear I'm not wrong.
Okay, good.
He was so good. He was so underrated. I'm kind of surprised the Cardinals never retired his number.
Did they not?
Him and Joe Medwick both. And it's so weird because they're both in the Hall of Fame, and they're both in the Hall of Fame as Cardinals, and neither has their number retired. Which is really weird because the Cardinals have retired numbers of other guys in the Hall of Fame, like Red Shandies, who like Cardinal lifer, love Red, but he was not the player that Enos or Medwick was. Oh, Joe Torre is a really good answer too. He had that MVP season. Mets 100 ribbies. I know like Pete Alonso just did it. Who would have done it in the past? I'm sure Darryl Strawberry did it. I know Keith Hernandez would have done it.
We didn't have a 100 RBI hitter between like 2012 Matt Holliday and like 2019 Paul Goldschmidt or something like that. It was crazy. Or no, not even that. Like 2021 Nolan Arenado.
That sucks. That's so brutal.
We had a long time without one of these guys. It was crazy.
I think Darryl Strawberry will be high, but I'm like really, really confident that he did it in the 80s.
I mean, the Mets just don't have a deep history. They haven't been around for that long.
They've been around forever. They just haven't done anything.
Well, they've been around since like the 60s. Like these other two teams, you can take from like way back.
That's true. Yeah, the Reds are the earliest professional baseball club. Mm-hmm. All right, that's what they say. Cardinals been around since the 1880s. And then also, who's someone in Cincinnati that...
Joey Votto.
Votto's a good take. Who's someone a little more random?
According to Ben Verlander, a certain shortstop prospect would have probably had 100 RBIs last season. But...
Dude, he would have had 600 RBIs, according to Ben Verlander. Every time he comes to the plate, it's special.
Yeah. Every strikeout, it's exciting.
Oh, Gary Carter's a really good one, actually. Dude, I don't even know the Mets. Like, I'm the worst. Wait. Hold up. Are we going for it? Let's do we think Gary Carter's not in the Hall of Fame, right?
I don't know.
No, he is. He definitely is.
I don't know my history, Sandy.
Gary Carter's definitely in the Hall of Fame because he's in there as he's a Montreal Expo. Yeah, I feel like Carter's a good one. He was an Expo and a Met.
3%. That's pretty good.
Nice. Okay, last one. Dude, I hate the Reds so much. No, don't do it. Don't do it. We're not Ben Verlander. Shoot.
Ben Verlander, by the way, I used to really like him until he said that thing about Shohei Ohtani being the most, like, whatever important signing in Dodgers history. And I was like, there's this other guy. I don't know if you remember, but he he was kind of like the first black guy to play baseball. And I think he played for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but like that seems pretty important, But like, whatever.
It was a really weird take. I'll say that. To be like, this is the most important signing ever, when that's the team that literally signed Jackie Robinson. And, he immediately was just an MVP level player and one of the best ever. Yeah, it was a bad take. Like, definitely, I think Verlander just like misspoke, and I just don't think he considered the history.
But he didn't like follow up on it. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to just leave this there. And he like retweeted it after like all the people were like, there's this other guy you forgot.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was not a good look. And also, it's just wrong. Like some things are more important than baseball. Jackie Robinson was so much more than baseball.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Who's okay? 100 ribbies for the Reds. I feel like there's some guys that are going to be really high. I feel like Joe Morgan. We didn't put him earlier, did we?
No.
I feel like Joe Morgan definitely did it. He was like one of the best second basemen of all time. He was a Red like forever too, and he won at least one MVP there. He might have won more. So I feel like he's a good get. Griffey's a good take. I'm pretty sure he did it, but it was so recent.
Yeah.
Go with Morgan.
What about Griffey Sr.?
No, he was a Red.
That's
I don't know.
Reason.
I think Morgan will be good.
2%, 31. That's pretty good.
Let's go. That's a great rarity score. Couldn't have done it without the chat. They had some awesome polls.
Okay. Yeah, Billy Hamilton makes sense.
Yeah.
Dan Musial,
Joey Votto really high. That checks
Johnny
out.
Bench, and then Albert. Vince Coleman. Okay.
Dude, who doesn't know someone else who had 100 ribbies for the Cardinals? Like, come on.
I mean, okay, there's 16 guys that have done it for the Mets. You're not going to get a good rarity score with that. Like,
that's terrible. Hey, we had a good one though. Like,
yeah. All right.
Well, thanks for hopping in with us tonight. It's awesome to just like be able to come on here and kind of just do this like impromptu, talk about some baseball and have like the support that we've had. Can't say it enough. This is probably the last live stream we'll record this year. Maybe not. We might get another one in before the end of the year.
Well, when we sign Woo-Suk Go, you and Josh can hop on when I'm on vacation.
Yeah. Barring some emergency news, this might be the last live stream we do this year. But seriously, we just can't say enough like how much it means to us that we've been able to do this. The support has been unbelievable. Please, we love our members, we love our subs, and we just love all our viewers. So thank you so much for doing this. Andrew and I were hanging out today. And we were thinking about it was about a year ago that we had the idea to start this podcast. And since then it's just been something that like, we never could have imagined that it would have been this fun and that honestly, we would have had this much just like support and embrace. And so it's all you guys that do that for us. So thank you. There are definitely points early on where we're like, oh, is this even worth it? And clearly it has been. It's been
for sure.
an amazing experience. I'm excited to keep doing this for years to come. I know Andrew feels the same way.
Yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. That's an awesome milestone. And we're almost at 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, go follow us at Newt News Pod. We're getting there. We post all our reels there. I make graphics occasionally. We're pretty active on that platform as well. I know a lot of people find us on Twitter and on YouTube. So Instagram is also another great place to find us. Please go follow us there. Check it out. And if you want to interact with us, our membership is available. There's a join button on the YouTube browser. You can also find it in our channel descriptions and stuff. That gives you access to our Discord channel, and we're always super active on Discord. We're engaging with our listeners. And if you join at higher tiers, we have member-only streams. So that's really cool. And you can make highest tier, you can make either me, Sandy, or Josh write an article of your choosing. So if you really, really want the Cardinals to sign Trevor Rosenthal, you can go in there. And yeah, you thought I was going to say something else, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I never would have suspected that from you.
So you can make one of us write that. So
yeah, or like to go a different direction, if you have like a favorite player of all time, like a random one. For me, Alan Craig is just my favorite player. There's nothing I can do about it. I became baseball conscious in an era where Alan Craig was just the clutchest middle of the order bat. And if you have a guy like that you want profiled, or like a highlight reel put together on a Redbird Rants article, like that's something we can do too. Or if you have like a random prospect that you are just in love with, like we'll talk about him. Also, whenever we see that logo there in the chat, like we're much more likely to respond to those messages as well. We love our members. But yeah, last thing, just to be like super honest, it really, like, one thing we do need right now is subscriber growth. So if you please subscribe to this video, or subscribe to this channel, not this video, like the stream as well. That helps a lot. Leave comments, interact with us as much as you can. We love all of that. But yeah, that's all. Thank you so much again for all that you've supported us with this year.
Thanks, guys.